Hello everybody, it's that time again. It's Semiahmoo seaside cooking demo here live in Packers with Chef Devin Kellogg and myself, Lisa. Just kind of wait a few minutes. We like to talk, so you can take, time to jump on, and the two of us, I don't know if you watched our...
As you say, if you watched yesterday, you know we can ramble on pretty well, so.
We went 40 minutes yesterday, and totally, but then we were done. We were both like, oh, we went 40 minutes.
I feel bad for Jess, our security
director,
photographer, because her arms were getting tired. You can see that.
She was just standing there holding the camera for 40 minutes. Yeah, I don't know. The two of us both have the gift of the gab, so we can talk and talk and talk. So today we're doing he's doing a cooking demo. I am holding the camera. If you have any questions, please make sure that you just type them on there and we will answer in real time. If you have not had a chance to watch the video from yesterday, we were asking for your sangria recipes, and we'll pick a couple, and next week we'll try them and we will let you know which one we like the best. And maybe there'll be a prize for the winner or something. I'm sure we can figure something out because we have time. We have lots of time right now, and so we can do that for you. So make sure to watch the video from yesterday as well. And next Wednesday we'll be back at 3 o'clock for our other fireside chat where we'll try the sangria recipes and let you know what we think about that. And next week we'll have another cooking demo on Thursday. And today Chef is doing sushi. I'm gonna
attempt 3 different types of sushi here in our quick timing, but I also want to try to go over a little bit about sushi rice technique and other things. And then I'm actually going to attempt something I have never done before, which is fun, unique, and a little scary for me sometimes, but it's one of my wife and I's favorite dishes that we get up in Vancouver, and it's burrioshi sushi. It means it originated from Osaka, Japan, and it's box pressed sushi that has been flamed with a butane torch. So it's a very specific type of sushi. Wonderful process. Box press is definitely a style of sushi, and I'll also probably do a little bit of nigiri as well. So technically 4 types. But let's get into it. So. First off, rice. Rice is the most important part, and so over here we have our sushi rice boiling away right now. We will post a recipe for all these too. So we have our sushi rice just about ready. At this point, this is also our test batch. I'm actually just, I already have some sushi rice ready, so this is just to demonstrate and show you. And so I'm going to turn it off now and let it sit for a couple minutes. We're still going to paddle it when it's warm, but I do have a traditional wooden bowl to paddle it in, and then we'll get on with our sushi after that. So. Like I said, we have our sushi rice. This is a very specific technique, so to get sushi rice nice and light. So it's a short or medium grained Japanese rice. You can buy very specific sushi rice, or you can just look for your favorite type of, and I would try to source from Japan. I know California does some good quality, but really the best quality does come from Japan. And so what I would love is a great quality that's made in America, but we just haven't found it yet. And so we use what we can from imported from Japan. Short or medium grain, rinsed for about 5 minutes before, and then soaked, rinsed for about 5 or 10 minutes, get all the starch off of the rice, so it's running clean and clear, and then you let it sit for 30 minutes, just air dry, kind of relax and set. Then you add to the 3 or 4 quart or 4 to 6 quart stock pot. You add your water. So this is a 3 cups of rice with 3 1/4 cups of water, and then I let that sit for 30 minutes. The water and rice sit for another 30 minutes before I turn it on. Then I turn on the, you can either use a rice cooker or you can use a stovetop, and I turn on the, we just use stovetop here, but we turn on the stovetop for a good 5 minutes. At a boil, we bring it to a boil first, and then as soon as it hits a boil, we turn it down to simmer, and we simmer for a total of cooking time 15 minutes. So if it takes 5 minutes to boil, another 10 minutes after that, and then you have some really great sushi rice. So over here, we are going to grab our sushi bowl, for the rice. And then I also have a mirin, or it's actually a rice vinegar, a dash of mirin, and a little bit of sugar and salt in here. This is what we're going to add to the rice to give it that sweet and kind of seasoned flavor. So
can you guys see the size of this bowl?
Yeah, and you think this is overkill? Watch when it comes in here. It's a little big for the process we're doing, but actually not too bad. So you'll be surprised how much it takes up. So
I hear
let's just make
Crocodile
sure
Dundee. That's not a bowl. This is a bowl.
So here's our rice, fully cooked. While it's still warm, one of the reasons that we're doing this is that we do not want to break up or smash the rice. So we handle it as little as possible. If you have a nice wooden or bamboo rice paddle, that works out really well as well, but I just use a plastic spatula. And so I add pretty much all of the seasoning right into it, slowly, not all at once, but just kind of drizzle it around. And then you start the process of paddling. And so you just kind of press it out lightly. And again, you do not want to overwork it, and you do not want to smash or break up the rice. And so once I get it a little bit out like this, then I just start working it in on itself. The idea is that it helps fold and season the rice without breaking it down. And you see how loose and light it is right now. Eventually it will become a lot stickier and what you assume and what you typically work with as sushi rice. So again, we're just kind of folding it in on itself. And again, you want to go as light and easy as possible because you do not want to overwork this. The other reason we're actually not going to use this when we make the sushi that I'm going to demonstrate here, the reason that we're not going to use this is because it's still pretty hot, and I like to let it rest for at least 10 or 15 minutes before we use it. And the other thing is if it is to cool it down. But the resting and the cooling, if you use a little bit of a fan over the top, it will actually create a nice glossy kind of look to it, and that's another typical characteristic of good sushi rice is a nice glossy color, individual pieces that stick together really well, good seasoning, and then again, not smashed up and not broken. So just about there.
So can you buy rice vinegar at the grocery store?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's two types that you can get. You can get either seasoned or regular. We do natural and then season it ourselves. Seasoned just means that it has a little bit of sugar and salt in it already. But we use just natural rice vinegar here. Then Aji Mirin, which is a sweet cooking wine. I add a little bit of that instead of some of the sugar. Some other great things that we're going to be using here today is a whiskey barrel aged shoyu, which is basically it's an aged soy sauce. This is another matsutake shoyu, which is actually is cured with mushrooms. And then this is what we use for most everything is our sashimi tamari shoyu, which the tamari is gluten-free and isn't made with wheat. So most soy sauces, most traditional soy sauces, not ultra traditional, but what you buy in the store, is made with wheat. Wheat helps the fermentation process and pushes it forward and creates a richer flavor to it. In a fake way, and so they use wheat because it's cheaper and it's faster than soybean. But typically what I look for is 100% soy product, and I go for tamari. We went to tamari, at the restaurants that I've worked for years because it is a gluten-free product, and so you sometimes have to look for the gluten-free tamari, but gluten-free tamari is far better quality, and for people like the light soy or the light salt and stuff like that, you can find that in those as well. So. All right, so our sushi rice looks pretty good. Now, again, if we were going to be serving this, then I would spread it out a little bit and fan it with some kind of fan or something to cool it down. But that's the process. And here's the rice that we're going to use. And I made this just before we started, so it's nice and sticky, has great texture, looks really good. So now we're going to we're gonna make, like I said, 4 different types of sushi. So I'm gonna, we'll do the ones that I know best first, because I know we can nail those. We're gonna do a nigiri, which is just a single piece of fish on rice, a little bit of wasabi spread on it, and then you know, you go for the soy or wasabi or whatever else you like with your sushi. Then we're also going to do a spicy tuna hand roll, a tuna, just a regular tuna maki, which is a tuna roll, and then we're going to attempt the bruzi oshi. So, all right, here we go. So we're going to slide down here to where we have our fish.
In other words, move, Lisa.
So we've got our ahi tuna, which I've been thawing here. This is, we buy them in saku blocks like this, and this is what we're using for our ahi poke.
Can you guys see okay?
The next one we're going to use here is also salmon. So actually I'm going to save the salmon because that's what we're going to use for the aburiyoshi. So here we're going to start with the nigiri. And so for nigiri, it's just a simple small piece in your hand. Now, one of the keys with sushi is that a little bit of water so that the rice doesn't stick to your hands. One of the keys with sushi is the limited amount of touching and activity. And so really the idea behind it is that you're doing the least amount of activity the most efficiently. And that's, you know, Japanese styling and a lot of other things, but it definitely comes across in the artistic forms of sushi as well. So. And again, to make nigiri, you want a small amount of rice and you don't want to press it too much. So you just want it to stick together. And if you can tell, the rice is sticking together pretty well. So we got that there. We're just going to do a couple pieces of each of these so you get an idea.
He makes this look so easy. Mine would not look like that.
I haven't done this in quite a while. Actually, last time we did sushi here was for our owner, John Oppenheimer's son's wedding.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
man. We don't get the opportunity to do it here. All right, got a piece there. Now, for the nigiri, I like to add a small amount of wasabi right into the...
I love wasabi. So good.
So just a small amount right underneath the fish. This is going to be the seasoning as well. And so this is another point that if you like wasabi and you want to see more, that's totally up to you. So now we're going to slice our ahi tuna. All right, as simple as it gets. This is nigiri ahi tuna. So we'll set that on our sushi plate. There we go. Next, I'm going to do a spicy tuna hand roll. So this is a really great way. This is whenever my wife and I are out for sushi and we've ordered a couple rolls and possibly I didn't get enough. Well, then this is what I make. This is the last thing I'll buy at the end of the night. Spicy tuna hand roll. Salmon skin hand roll is one of my favorites. They do spicy scallop as well.
Oh, I love spicy scallop rolls.
So typically when places make spicy tuna, what we do is we use this, the saku block or the center cut. We'll use this as our nigiri into our sushi rolls and other things that we're using the better quality. And then we'll use some of this, the trim and extra off of the portions, that when we do that, we'll also take the belly pieces and use a spoon to scrape it off the sinew. And so that's why a lot of times when you get spicy tuna at a restaurant, it'll be broken down quite a bit. And that's because you actually use the back of a spoon to get it off and get out of the sinew and then mix that in. And typically what we always did for our pokies and things like that is that we added a little bit of that with the chopped up as well. But that's when we would buy fresh whole loins. So for spicy tuna, I prefer a little bit of sambal olik, which is a ground chili paste, and it usually has a little bit of garlic. So it's not as much as a garlic chili paste, but it does have a little bit. So just a small amount of the sambal olik, a little sriracha hot sauce as well, a touch of soy sauce, and then we smash it up. The other thing I add, which is a great seasoning, is togarashi seasoning. It's a Japanese chili paste or chili powder that can actually, you can actually get Korean or Japanese varietals, but it's a ground chili, sesame, garlic, a lot of things. It's a wonderful, wonderful spice. Touch of that. And then we will mix this up. Let me grab a glove. And then I have two different types of nori sheets, actually several different types, but these ones you can either cut them in half yourself or you can buy them in half like that one. So this is going to be our hand roll. This is going to be for our regular maki. So this one will take over here. We'll mix up lightly. And sushi is quite a difficult thing for me to do with gloves. And so when we've done it for service, I obviously use gloves when we're doing that. But since Lise and I are the only ones eating this, I'm using my hands because honestly, one of the most important tools I have in the kitchen is my hands, and to be able to tell and to be able to feel things. And with sushi, it is absolutely imperative that you use your hands. You don't know whether the rice is right, how much rice, the weight, everything. And when you wear gloves, a lot of times it sets that off. So, like I said, when we're in service and when we're serving it to people, absolutely we use gloves. But for here, I want to be able to show you the techniques that everybody else uses. All right. So, water. And again, with sushi, you're looking at one scoop with your hand. You have to dive back a second time. If you're at a sushi restaurant, you might not work there anymore. Here we are. I get a nice cone kind of shape to it, and then I start filling up the tuna. Ooh.
So it's actually not, it's really not that complicated. It's just making sure you have the right
Ingredients.
rice and right
Yep.
vinegars, right soy sauces.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, sushi can be very simple, but again, it goes back to the quality of ingredients and what you're working with. That's what changes things.
Yeah.
And so you cannot really skimp on the quality of your fish or anything else. And so sushi you won't even attempt. And that's why when you go to the store, what you're buying is sushi grade, and that really does denote the highest grade. So here we have some spicy tuna hand roll. Let's put it on our tray. I'm going to hit it with a little bit more of the togarashi seasoning. And a little bit of shredded seaweed right on top. There we are.
I bet you all wish you were here. Na 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 na.
All right, so the next one is a traditional maki, and we're going to use our ahi tuna here. Very simple. We're just going to do ahi, green onions, and that's it. And I'll grab our nori sheet. So another thing with nori, this was a fresh package that I just opened, so I know that this is nice and fresh. If you're dealing with a nori that's been open for a little while, then I would pass it over either a burner or a little bit of flame or lightly. And so I can show you what that looks like with our butane burner here. And again, you're looking for the lightest amount of heat on this nori sheet. And so that lightly toasts it. And so that's as far as I want to go. That will actually reliven and put new life into an old nori sheet. And so the other thing that you can look at here is that there's a kind of a rough side and a shiny side. So I always use the rough side on the outside and the shiny side on the inside. I don't know the real preference or what's behind that, but I just like the texture and I feel like this sticks a little bit better on the other side. So Another technique here is wrap your bamboo rolling pad in plastic wrap. It helps from the rice getting stuck on there, and that way you can also clean it really easily. So we're gonna start with that.
Or leave it on and let your kids try to suck the rice out of the bamboo. That might be a fun activity to keep them busy for a little while.
So we're gonna put the
shiny side
up.
inside.
Yeah. So the shiny side is up.
Your mom said it's cruel that they get to watch, but they can't taste it.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Green onions ready as well. And again, I always try to find the length so you can have one nice long piece in there. A little bit of water in my hands. It's been years, so we'll see if I can do one scoop. Remember what that feels like. Nope. I'd be kicked out of the kitchen.
That's okay. I'm not kicking you out of the kitchen. Yeah, I do have experience letting my kids. I used to, before I knew to put saran wrap on my bamboo rolls, I was forever trying to rinse the rice that was stuck in it. Like, duh. Anyways, so put saran wrap on it.
That's another, and then I'll show you at the end too. There's actually another, you'll see if you sit at a sushi bar when their restaurants are open again, you'll actually see people, you'll see them wrap it in plastic when they cut it too. It holds the rice in a little bit better and holds the roll together. So here we are with our tuna. I always go out first, come back to the point where my sheet ends. You see where the sheet ends? And then I tuck in and give it a good squeeze. Open up, finish the rolling. I always want to try to finish my roll with the seal down. So there we go. And one last touch.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm shaking the camera. I bought a widget to try to help us not move the camera around so much, but I can't figure out how to use it yet. I will try for next time, but I'm trying to be able to read comments and show what he's doing and face the camera to him so you can hear him better. So I apologize. We're just doing the best that we can with this technology. So you're cutting right through the saran wrap.
Yeah. And then I go back, peel the saran wrap off. That too also holds it together.
So smart.
So here we are.
So really, once you got started, it doesn't take very long.
No, it's very quick, and that's why sushi nights at home are a wonderful thing, because you can all participate. You can all build your own roll. You get the, it's almost like building a pizza, but you eat right away, so it's all ready to go. All right, so the next one, which is the one I'm the most excited about, is the aburiyoshi, and that's a technique, like I said, I enjoy a lot and I've never done before, but it's sushi, so it's very simple, but simple can be harder, and so you have to follow every instruction very specifically and do it very close to what's going on, and you'll be very successful. But this is sushi is definitely not the thing that you take for granted or do cut corners. So we've got again a nice, wonderful piece of Nurka salmon. And as I said before, this technique is from Osaka, and it's called the box, or box press. And so we have our little box here. So again, to be able to get this rice out, what I typically do, you can, plastic wrap or other things, but I like to use just a little bit of water for the rice. So now we use a small layer of rice on the bottom.
So you don't have to put a plate underneath that. It'll just.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna lift it up because I want to cut it on here, and then I'm gonna move it to there to brown. And so, no, I mean, if we did it on another cutting board or something else, then I would, but we're gonna cut it right in here, and then I'll be able to pick them up as little individual pieces, similar to the size of nigiri. So what I'm looking for here is just a nice thin layer on the bottom to give us a base to work with.
Where did you buy that box? Could people buy that kind of a box?
Yeah, absolutely. So most Asian food stores that sell sushi material, like the bamboo mats and other things, will have something like this, or they have the other little boxes. I really enjoy this style of box. This I bought off of Amazon for $6. So you can find them around. They're not very expensive. All right, we put a little bit of water on there. We press that rice a little bit. Now we have our salmon. And for this, what I try to do is I try to go with a piece right down the middle, but leave this rice exposed on the sides. So I'm gonna try to cut a piece that is essentially that long. And we can press in there. All right, so there's our middle piece of salmon there. Now we're going with a layer of rice on top of that. And we tamp it down. Now the next one, what I try to do is I want salmon to cover this whole entire thing. So since I did one slice on the last one, I'm going to do 2 slices on the top here. About the general same thickness. Right on top. All right, so we've completely covered the top. Press down. I'm going to cut it into 4. And then we are going to transfer it to our metal plate here so that we can brown the top of it. Last little bit, very traditional and goes great with salmon, is a slice of jalapeno. Now I'm going to put that on after we put the sauce on here. So the sauce that we brown on top here is actually made from, and again I'll have recipes at the, or post recipes here soon, is made from a little bit of kupai mayo, which kupai mayo is a Japanese mayo, very eggy mayo, which I love a lot. You can buy it in actually most of the grocery stores. You just have to look in the Asian food section, or you can try to buy it online. It's K-A-W-P-I-E, kupai. And so that's a little bit of kupai mayo here. And then I have a little bit of mirin in there and a little bit of soy sauce, and that's it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this and I'm going to lightly dab it on top of our sushi because I just want the smallest amount, not too much. There we are. Now, next step, we'll grab our jalapenos. And then we turn on our butane torch here. Now the idea behind this is to go very quickly. You want to get, you want brown and you want color, but you don't want to cook the salmon. And so you're going as light and kind of quick as possible. But you definitely want some browning, so you want to brown that sauce. Now this technique actually uses the flavor of the butane, which can be slightly like a little petroleum kind of a burnt aspect to it. And so what you want is that little bit of a gassiness, and that's actually a benefit of the aburyoshi.
Oh, I think we could talk Devin into doing this at one of our wine dinners coming up. What do you think? Let us know.
I've been planning it for
He's
sure.
been planning it. I think we got to do it.
All right, so here we are, aburyoshi. And see, again, I'm just browning with the sauce that's on top, but I'm not cooking that salmon that's there. And definitely the salmon in the middle is not either, so.
Oh, it smells so good. Okay, so I love sake and I love Japanese beer. What would you suggest?
My favorite, which I just had with one of my best friends, Odin, here recently, is Asahi Dry. But he obviously, he goes to Japan quite often, so he gets the Asahi Dry from Japan, which is phenomenal and tastes a lot better than the stuff made in Canada, no offense, mostly. The other one that I really like a lot is, I love sake. I like sake in a lot of different ways, but my favorite is the Junmai Ginjo, which is probably closest to the oldest style of sushi making techniques that's out there. It's a little bit more dry style, typically served cold, but it's a wonderful sushi, or it's a wonderful sake, I apologize. But here we are. So wonderful 4 different types of sushi made with the aburyoshi, made with local salmon, and then we have ahi tuna, nigiri, hand roll, as well as a maki. Well, thanks for joining.
Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for joining us today. We're so loving the fact that you guys are sharing our videos and watching us and commenting, and we'll see you soon. And I will take a picture and it'll be on the Facebook site as well as the recipes. So thank you again so much. Hello everybody, goodbye everybody, and we will see you next time.
See you soon. Thank you.
Bye.